In this video, we're going to discuss private versus public key encryption. So first of all, your private key is like your key to your house. As long as you have a key, you can get in. The problem with having a key is that if someone gets a hold of that key, they can make duplicates or use it to be able to get into your house. This is an example of symmetric encryption. Symmetric encryption, if someone takes a message and uses my private key to encrypt the message, then that cannot be read until it's decrypted using the same private key to be able to read that message. So if someone sends me a message, I would be able to unlock it as long as I have the key. The problem with symmetric encryption, as we mentioned, is that this key, if it is shared, that violates the integrity of this whole encryption process. So another way of doing this is having a private key that is paired with a public key. And then you share your public key with all those that you want to communicate with. So for asymmetric encryption, a user who has a message to send to me can use my public key to encrypt the message. No one can decrypt this message except for the person that has the private key. And since my private key is special to only me, I'm not going to share it with anyone. And so I'm going to be the only one that is going to be able to decrypt and read that message. The problem here is that asymmetric encryption is 100 to 1,000 times slower. So a better approach to take advantage of both symmetric and asymmetric encryption is to use them together. So the first thing that we're going to do is create a symmetric session key that can be shared with anyone. We are going to then encrypt this session key using a public key. And then we send that encrypted session key, which no one can receive except for the person that has the private key to decrypt it. Which is great because for any subsequent encryption, we will use this session key to send our messages back and forth. So we get the speed of symmetric encryption, but we hide it behind that of asymmetric encryption in order to take advantage of both and ensure that our encryption process is not captured and reversed. There's a great video that I will link in the description that shows the advantages of using this type of encryption. So we've talked about the two types of encryption as well as hashing, and now we will cover the reason why we'll use all three of these. So with symmetric encryption, confidentiality is applicable because the sender encrypts with the key shared with the receiver. So we can ensure that the communication is only happening between those that have the key. However, authentication is not applicable because once that key is shared, anyone else can use that key. Whereas asymmetric encryption, confidentiality is applicable in that the sender encrypts with the receiver's public key, and then the receiver decrypts with their own private key. Authentication is possible because the sender encrypts with their own private key, and the receiver could decrypt with their public key to ensure that they are actually communicating with the true party. Hashing confidentiality is not applicable because hashing is irreversible. Authentication is applicable because we a lot of times are going to be able to use this as a password to be able to get into a system. It is also used for a lot of the authentication measures that we use, etc. So now I have a learning activity here for you to practice asymmetric key encryption. So you can follow the instructions here, but I'm going to walk you through how to do this. After I walk you through it, try to send a message to someone and receive one in return. So after you've created a Keybase account, you're going to go ahead and click this user icon, then add a PGP key. You'll click I need a public key, and then OK, got it. Type in your name and an email address that you're going to use, and then confirm your password. Once you've done this, click Let the Math Begin, and it will start calculating your prime values. So your P's and Q's, this is to generate the asymmetric key, which is going to use a combination of two prime values to generate your private key. Once it's finished, it gives you your public key, so you could basically click here, copy that, and paste it if you want to give someone your public key. You can also host your encrypted private key. This is recommended so that you don't lose it. Go ahead and click Done and post to Keybase. So now you have your public key. You are ready to communicate with other users in the Keybase environment. So in order to send a message, you're going to click the lock here. You type in a recipient that you're going to send the message to, and then paste or type the message you're going to encrypt. You can sign it by typing your password to ensure that they know that this message is truly coming from you. You click Sign and Encrypt, and then that's going to give you an output. That output you can send an email to another person who uses Keybase, and then they could take that output you sent, put it inside of the decrypt here, paste it as the message to decrypt, and then they would use their password to decrypt that message. Feel free to do this with another user of Keybase. Thanks for watching my video. Feel free to click the links here to watch the next video of the playlist, continue to the next playlist, or subscribe.